What is up, everyone? It's Quinn here, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 5 must-draft rookies in your fantasy football redraft leagues. So we're going to be talking about a few running backs, 1 wide receiver, and a tight end, so kind of spreading the wealth around here. Let me know what you guys think about these players, and if you have a different rookie target in redraft leagues, let me hear it down below. But let's just dive right into the first player here. We're going to start off at the running back position, and this is someone I've already talked about as a must-draft running back. It's Jonathan Brooks, going off the board as the running back 24. I'm not going to go crazy in depth because I have already talked about him, but kind of like, the short story here on why I like him. He is coming off a torn ACL, but all the reports we're getting are saying he should be ready to go week 1. He gets really strong round 2 draft capital, which in this day's NFL, very good at the running back position. He has a 3-down skill set, can be an early down guy, a really solid pass catcher. Dave Canales, the Panthers' new head coach, used Rachaad White like a workhorse last year. I think Jonathan Brooks is the much better prospect, the much more talented running back. And so I think Jonathan Brooks may start a little bit slow. They want to ease him in, don't want to give him a huge workload coming off the ACL, but I really expect him to be a league winner down the stretch, and I think he's going to have a huge finish to the season. So really, really high on Jonathan Brooks. Now, another must-draft rookie is going to also be at the running back position. And for me, it's going to be Blake Corum. He's being drafted as the running back 39, and there are a lot of people out there who think Blake Corum is just going to straight up beat out Kyren Williams. I'm actually not in that camp, so I'm not drafting him here saying that Blake Corum's going to come in, he's going to be the clear-cut RB1, or even that he's going to force a 50-50 split. I don't think that's a super likely thing that's going to happen. Kyren Williams was impressive last season. I think he's going to still be the running back 1. I think Corum's going to be the pretty clear running back 2, and I feel like, comments from the coaching staff, reports have kind of backed up that split with Kyren staying as the 1. Corum is the 2. Sean McVay came out after the draft and said that they liked Blake Corum because he reminded them of Kyren Williams. There have also been reports that they want Blake Corum to develop as a 3-down back, have that 3-down skill set, which I think would be kind of work on his pass catching because he's definitely proven to be a solid early down option. And in my opinion, that sounds like they want Blake Corum to be Kyren Williams' assurance, where if Kyren were to go down, you have a really, really strong number 2 to step in, and then also week to week probably shoulder a little bit of the load, but not someone who I think is going to come in and just overtake Kyren Williams. But I think looking at Blake Corum, even if he's not, competing for the starting spot or, not getting running back 1 reps week after week, I think he's probably going to be the best handcuff running back you're going to find this season. We know Sean McVay likes to use a workhorse. Kyren led all running backs in snap share last season. He was 4th in opportunity share, and it's not like he came into the season as some sort of star running back, clear RB1, right? He was a day 3 pick, didn't really do anything his rookie season, and Sean McVay felt confident enough to just give him a massive workload. Kyren Williams is also undersized at 5'9", 195, and he has had a lot of injury issues through his first 2 seasons. As a rookie, he suffered a broken foot, and then he also suffered a high ankle sprain. Last season, he suffered another high ankle sprain, and then now he's already missing time in OTAs with some sort of foot injury. I don't think they've given specifics there, but injuries have clearly been a problem for Kyren Williams over the last few seasons. Blake Corum in college proved that he could handle a large workload. I think if Kyren Williams misses any time, Corum becomes a weekly locked-in running back 1 play. I do think he has that kind of upside as a handcuff option. And then from there, if you are a huge believer in his talent, you think he's a better player than Kyren Williams, well, if he gets that opportunity to step in as a handcuff, now he has the opportunity to impress the coaching staff and maybe the opportunity to steal the job. So even if Corum isn't stepping in as the running back 1, I think just here at this running back 39 price, him being an elite top tier handcuff, in my opinion, I'd be willing to pay for that here as a high-end RB4 play. Now the next player, the last running back in this video, it's going to be Marshawn Lloyd. He's being drafted as the running back 44, and I just keep kind of getting higher and higher on Marshawn Lloyd here. I'm someone who's been a little bit skeptical about Josh Jacobs pretty much all this offseason, since he signed with the Packers, and some of Matt LaFleur's recent comments have really made me feel more confident in that initial read that I had. He came out recently and said that Josh Jacobs is definitely capable of handling a large workload, but that LaFleur typically likes to platoon running backs. And, that's something we've seen with LaFleur as the head coach in recent years. His split with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon definitely backs that up. This is also the same dude who was the offensive coordinator where Derrick Henry had 215 carries and Dion Lewis had 155. So, LaFleur really has backed up that statement where he does like to platoon running backs, even in situations where you had one running back that was clearly better than the other. And I don't really, think that's a guarantee this season that Josh Jacobs is like significantly better than any other running back in this backfield. I think Marshawn Lloyd has a prime opportunity to step in, be the running back too. The Packers seem to be pretty high on him. A.J. Dillon is still there, but like on a one-year deal, and he really hasn't proven a ton, hasn't been great in recent seasons. Both A.J. Dillon and Josh Jacobs were actually bottom 10 in rushing yards over expected per attempt, so neither guy was all that great last year. Josh Jacobs signed a 4-year deal, but they have an out after year 1. They drafted Marshawn Lloyd in round 3. I think he's going to be a part of this backfield, and I think he'll have the opportunity to kind of expand on his role. And even in like a 1B committee role, I still think he could be somewhat relevant week to week, and then he also has that built-in handcuff upside if Josh Jacobs were to go down, which isn't crazy given the massive workloads he's had over the last couple of seasons. Now, shifting away from the running back position, the one wide receiver I have here is going to be Xavier Legette. He's currently being drafted as the wide receiver 65, and I'll be the first to admit, like, I wasn't a huge Xavier Legette guy. I was not overly high on him in rookie drafts. I think a lot of people love the athleticism. They love the draft capital. For me, I was a little bit weary of him, right? He was a 5th-year breakout, which is a clear red flag. Pretty much did nothing in his first 4 seasons in college. He breaks out in year 5, but when he did break out, it was a monster season. This wasn't like, a decent year 5, right? 71 receptions, over 1,200 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns, had over 3 yards per route run, had 6.4 yards after catch per reception. He tested really well at the combine. He's 6'1", 221, ran a 4.39 40. So pretty much Legette did everything he could to improve his draft stock, after his 5th season. And I just think looking at this Panthers offense, even if there's some red flags with his profile, he has a real opportunity to make a contribution in year 1. I think he should be a starting wide receiver right away on this Panthers team. And there's reason to believe that Bryce Young can take a step forward, with a better offensive supporting cast. Dave Canales coming in at head coach. I just feel like wide receiver 65 is too low for, a dude who, even if there are some concerns, is a freak athlete with like round 1 capital. I'm just looking at a guy like Ricky Pearsall, who's pretty much going like right next to Xavier Legette, and I think they're pretty comparable as prospects, but like Ricky Pearsall's a guy who's probably not going to be a year 1 option just based on the current weapons the 49ers have. So if Legette has a real path to getting solid playing time in year 1, like why is he going in the same range as Pearsall? I'm just fine throwing like a late round dart on Legette. He's so cheap. I mean, pretty much free. He might be going undrafted in certain redraft leagues. So someone I'd definitely be looking at as like a late round option. And then the final player here, a tight end. It's going to be Ben Sinnott, the tight end 18. And if I'm like waiting at the tight end position, I'm not going after those elite ceiling options. He's probably, one of, if not my favorite later round option. He checks pretty much every box you'd be looking for at the tight end position. He's an impressive athlete, 75th percentile or higher in his 40 time, speed score, burst score, agility score, and catch radius. Nice size at 6'4", 250. He gets solid around 2 draft capital. He's coming off an impressive receiving season where he played in 12 games, caught 49 passes for 676 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, and he's also stepping into an offense that's pretty wide open in terms of their weapons. Like you have Terry McLaurin there as the pretty, consensus top weapon, their wide receiver 1. Outside of Terry, the wide receiver position's kind of up in the air. Jahan Dotson was someone that I think a lot of people liked to have a breakout year 2. It didn't happen, even though there was a lot of passing volume to go around. So they have an unproven wide receiver 2 in Jahan Dotson. They did sign Zach Ertz in the offseason, but maybe Ertz has the edge early on. This is somewhat of a committee. But if Sinnott isn't beating out Zach Ertz, who's probably dust at this point, he wasn't going to do it anyway. Zach Ertz played in 7 games last year, 187 receiving yards. He's 33 years old, so really not someone I'm super concerned with. It's either Sinnott's talented enough to beat him out, or he was never going to do anything anyway, right? Zach Ertz isn't going to be the guy holding him back unless there's some sort of extreme coaching malpractice where Sinnott's playing well and they still are trying to get Zach Ertz on the field. I just think the odds of that aren't super high. So if he's good enough, I think he's going to get that opportunity to be the clear starting tight end. And then you just have some level of uncertainty at the quarterback position where maybe Jaden Daniels struggles, but maybe he doesn't, right? No one really knows. He could play well in year 1. And even if he doesn't play all that well, I think there's just, limited enough weapons where he could still give you solid production from a fantasy perspective. The tight end position, the bar is so low to be a relevant option. And so even if he's a fringe tight end 1, back end tight end 1, even if he's not a league winner, you're getting him at like a mid-tier tight end 2 level, so still a decent pick. So that's going to wrap it up for 5 of my rookie targets. I think I'll maybe do this video a little bit later on in the offseason because this is using Underdog ADP. I do think Underdog tends to be a little bit sharper with these rookies. Once you start getting into like your more casual leagues, ESPN, Yahoo, I think these rookies will become better values, especially like the wide receivers. Like they're pretty pushed up, those top dudes on Underdog. I don't know if that's going to be the case in like more casual leagues. So we'll probably run back this video in like a month or two, but let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.